Let me just have a little sip of my tea. Tea's got fake milk in it. You can tell.
You can tell.
It's really hot.
Dog's milk.
I'm just going to hold it. Dog's milk.
Dog's milk.
What, like from Red Dwarf?
Yes.
there's a really random reference for someone to go back and go, I know that from somewhere. Which episode is it? I don't know. It's very early on though.
It's the second season. Is
it though?
Stranded.
Or is it the second series? Because we're in England. In case you haven't noticed, we sound very English.
It's Stranded. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's where Lister and Rimmer are stuck. Starbug crashes on an ice planet, and they're frozen in, and they have to slowly eat through
that could almost be several Red Dwarf episodes as well, because they get stranded.
No, it's just Rimmer and Lister though.
Is it?
It's just Rimmer and Lister. Because Lister... they're listing off all the food supplies.
I'm thinking of the... oh no, it is. It's the joke where he says it's full of goodness, full of calcium, full of marrowbone jelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's listing off all the food...
I thought that was the same post... The episode as the post one.
No. Post one's the first season.
Oh, you mean the one where Lister doesn't... they burn his guitar, but then he cuts out the cutout of
from his trunk.
Lister's trunk, Rimmer's trunk,
yeah.
because he couldn't bear for his... and then he takes it out of the cupboard at the end. Oh, this is off topic. This is so
Hi,
off
welcome
topic.
to Dwarfing Around, the Red Dwarf podcast. I am your host, Chris King. With me, as always, is the Rimmer to my Lister.
Well, my nickname at work is Judas.
That's true.
So it works on many levels. So you can do this thing where you kind of like you can always tell someone by like their favourite Red Dwarf character, because John, who does my tattoos, he said this to me when he was doing one. He actually did the Starbug on my arm.
Oh yeah, you got Starbug, didn't
He
you?
really likes Red Dwarf. It was the first one he wanted to do. And he was like, who's your favourite Red Dwarf character? Bearing in mind this is a preloaded answer that he already has.
Right.
And I was like, oh okay, well it's Crichton. He was like, well no, that's wrong, it's Rimmer. And I was like, right, okay. He's like, well no, because it's Rimmer, because everything in Red Dwarf happens around Rimmer. Like, because like they do a few things where they kind of do a little bit of backstory for people. Like there's the one where they can go into the photograph and they go to like young Lister and he's got that song called Om. And
the Om song.
The Om song's brilliant. It's like, I remember this. It's called Om. Like that's, I think, all we really get from Lister, apart from sometimes when they do like flashbacks to when he's like with the other crew members before they die.
You get his entire birth thing because you find out that he is the be-all and end-all of the race.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for a show from the 90s.
90s. Well, yeah, it started in like 88 or something, didn't it?
Yeah, like
it's
80s.
really, really old. But yeah, like everything, like there's backstory stuff that happens for like for Rimmer that really sets in motion why he is who he is. But then there's like lots of stuff that happens later on where like stuff happens like more to Rimmer because he's the funniest character to use, because he's just such a dick, but he's unforgivingly so. Like he definitely you definitely warm to him. But like early on, for like How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson in the first series is a horrible person.
Right.
He gets so much more grounded throughout the rest of it. It takes a long time for you to be like, oh, okay, Arnold Judas Rimmer is actually one of the best characters in this show, because throughout most of it, he's such a dick.
His character doesn't change, really, does he?
Not really. I think you just adapts to him.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between him and Piers Morgan, obviously, is Piers Morgan just needs to die.
But would he come back as a hologram?
I certainly hope not. But yeah, there's like one of my favourite episodes is I don't know what goes on. I can't remember the context for it, but they're in like Rimmer's mind, or like there's like a ride that's all about Rimmer, and it's the
Rimmer's been gone because
it's the song.
It's after
so good.
he becomes the next Ace.
Mm.
Because you've got the entire Ace legacy that goes out throughout the series.
There is one of the best. Ace, although they're quite similar, Ace and Lord Flashheart from Blackadder, although very similar, two fantastic creations from anything.
So he goes off to become Ace, and I don't think it's the next episode, but maybe like a couple of episodes, they start to really sort of miss Rimmer. So they create the Rimmer World Ride.
They do, yeah. Oh,
And it's the brilliant thing because it's the same for you as the viewer. You're sort of like, it is a bit different without Rimmer. And then you watch it and you're like, no, he is an arsehole. You know what? I agree. Fuck Rimmer.
It's the song that happens and all the little heads come up, start singing. Arnold, Arnold, Arnold Rimmer. It's just like... At some point, someone must have gotten like super high and was just like, wouldn't it be great if there was a Rimmer world? Obviously not what you would call it.
My dad was a big fan of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
My mum not so much, but that's her favourite episode.
It is one of my favourites. I think the most fascinating stuff I think in Red Dwarf is Rimmer based. So that's why Rimmer is the best character. Because I mean, for me,
he's the best character, but that doesn't mean he's your favourite character.
No, okay, yeah. So it's a misleading question. Like my favourite character is Crichton because of just how insanely wacky he is. Like he's got like a Hoover attachment where his dick would be. Oh god,
such a fantastic series.
Yeah.
And there is probably a fantastic podcast out there dedicated to Red Dwarf. This, unfortunately, despite us recording this entire segment for about 20 minutes talking about how great Red Dwarf is, how great Rimmer is as a character, this is not a Red Dwarf podcast, despite what I said.
This is not dwarfing around.
This is not dwarfing.
To be fair, it should be the name of a Red Dwarf podcast.
It should be. Maybe a side project.
Maybe. I mean, clearly we can... Well, I mean, all it is commentary.
Yeah.
This is our podcast. It's called Folking Around.
It is Folking Around. A podcast where we talk movies, TV, and general geekery and nerdery subjects across the board.
We're both... We worked together for a while, and we found that we were both just real big fans of pop vinyls.
God,
so,
no. No!
They're the worst things to have been invented.
Yet so many people love them.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why. I own... two from another one I got for Christmas. Before they were pop vinyls, they were called something else.
Were they?
Yeah, because I've got some.
They're probably worth something then.
I don't know where they are.
That's for the best as well.
One was a Jango Fett one. It was really really cool because he had the two little blasters.
That's cool. See, I only own them from Loot Crate.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, maybe I do have more then.
And I bought a wrestling one as a punishment for myself.
You should be punished for liking both wrestling and pop vinyls.
No, I'm going to keep bringing up wrestling anywhere I can.
I mean, wrestling is certainly something that we can talk at no length about.
I hope we can. Anyway, my name is Chris King, making up the King of Folking Around.
King? Well, it's such an accent there.
I'm sorry.
On the King.
I like to make it sound pompous.
Oh, okay. I'm Ben Faulkner.
Making up the Folk of Folking Around. As this is our first outing, as it were.
Yes.
We're going to ease ourselves in with a lovely sort of discussion. Well, as everyone should be aware, Avengers Infinity War is around the corner.
Is it?
It is. It's this month now.
What's an Infinity War?
It's a war that goes on for an infinity.
Christ. Well, it's just one film. They should do two.
It's two films.
But
part
called
one.
It!
Part one. Part one is coming out for us in England.
The Thanos Menace.
It's coming out this month for us.
Yes, it is. It was brought forward, wasn't it? It was going to be like the 4th of May or something.
May, it's now in April.
Yeah, because...
So, hooray for us.
Yep, I really want them to bring forward the Han Solo movie because they still think it would work.
No, it won't. But yeah, in light of the Avengers movie coming up, we are going to go head to head.
Yeah, we are.
Mono a mono. With our top 5 Avengers. Well, Avengers? Top 10...
You've just given away your favourite.
Damn it. It's not.
No.
Our top 5 MCU films.
Yes.
Head to head. We don't know...
In the style of Street Fighter, we're going to pair them up against each other, and then the winner...
Do you know how Street Fighter works?
It's the one... Or is it Mortal Kombat? What's the one where you've got the two people on the screen and they fight each other?
Any beat-em-up game.
Well, yeah, but what's the one that's really popular?
Street Fighter,
there you
Mortal
go.
Kombat.
I used it correctly. That Justice League one where the Flash, where you're the character.
Injustice.
no, this is the really old one. Where,
Oh.
like, you are one of the members of the Justice League, and you
Right.
start fighting the other members of the Justice League. So, like, it's good to be Batman, because obviously Batman being the world's greatest detective, you fight them, and then when they're defeated, finally, they explode,
Oh, God.
because they turn out to be robots.
Oh.
But Batman doesn't figure that out first. He's like, oh, that was weird. One of the Justice League members just tried to attack me. I better go and see what else is happening. So then you go to, like, Wonder Woman, and you eventually defeat her, and she blows up, and he's like, this is really weird. 2 members of the Justice League have just tried to attack me. This is a very odd thing to happen. And then you fight another one, and then he's like, this is super strange. Something must be going on. This must be the work of somebody else. And then, like, you fight Superman or something. It's a different order.
I have
each time
no
you
idea
do.
what this game is.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's literally kind of like, you've figured it out.
Huh.
But you don't have to be Batman. You can be the Flash, or you can be any of them. You end up fighting all of them, and then
Okay.
you realise that it's
Brainiac, Luthor.
no, I think it might be Darkseid
Okay.
as like the final boss battle, because then you fight like Cheetah and you fight someone else.
Well, it's got quite a big roster then.
It's interesting the villains that they get, because you fight all of the Justice League,
Yeah.
and then you fight the 2 other people. The first person you fight might be Brainiac, I can't remember, but you go into space
Oh, okay.
and you fight him in this like space station, and you go back down to Earth,
Of course.
and it's like,
Quick visit.
yeah, and I think no, it must be Darkseid or someone, because then you fight on Apocalypse, and the background is literally of like an exploding world and everything. It's
I'll have to
it's
look into that.
basically just Street Fighter or Mortal, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's
It's
that
a beat 'em
style.
up game.
Yes.
Yes.
What were we talking about?
We are talking about us going head to head in a beat 'em up style, apparently.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Of our
cool.
top
So a bit
5.
like Street Fighter. We're gonna. I don't know what I'm talking about. You carry on.
We've chosen our top 5 MCU films. We don't know what each other have picked, and we're going to go head to head, working from 5 up to 1. And we're going to argue both of our points on why we've chosen the film at this point.
Yar.
And we'll try and come to a decision on which film should take that point. It's going to be interesting to see, because
So are you gonna go?
kind of worried about crossover later on.
Yes,
But we'll see
We're
what
not
happens.
because we're kind of idiots. We've not thought this through, and then we did, and we thought logistically there's possibility that this won't work,
There is.
and we're not gonna think about it till it happens, because I'm adamant.
Mm.
I
We can argue at that
released,
point.
I released that album, Prince Charming.
Okay. At that point, say
There's a
if you've
really
got
good joke there that I
if
hope
you've
a
got
bunch
Iron
of
Man 2 at
people
number
have
1,
got,
which
but
I know
I'm
you
gonna
all
keep
want.
talking, he's gonna. Sorry,
I said
did you put Iron Man 2 on your list?
I said
Because I picked Iron Man 3.
I
Oh, we should put them together.
what Iron Man 5?
Oh, he'd be so old, wouldn't he?
I was going to say, if you had Iron Man 2 at number 1 and I had Iron Man 2 at number 3, so we can sort of argue where it should go.
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know.
I just think that if we come to something that's already lost, I just pick another one.
Oh, okay, that's
Because
fine.
I've got extras to use.
Yeah. I mean, there's 18 of them.
So
No,
that's
6, 12. Yeah, 18 films.
you already worked that out earlier.
I did.
That's amazing, because this started in 2008,
Yeah.
and they've just been rolling them out.
They've done well.
Just a bit of context for that, because everyone says like, DC don't know what they're doing. They've missed the ball on this, and fair play, they haven't got their shit together as quickly as maybe they should have done. That's not really the issue. Like, people always put like DC and Marvel up against each other for like the DCEU and the MCU, like against each other, and they really shouldn't do, because I argue they're both at different points in their thing. Okay, DC should have got their shit together maybe a lot earlier, but there have been DC films just because they've got Batman, and there's always been Batman films.
Yeah. Always been Superman films.
Always been Superman films, for better or worse.
Yeah.
So, like, 2008 is when the MCU started. Okay, it was just Iron Man at the time, but then we did also get Incredible Hulk, I think, the same year.
Yes.
And then we had to wait till Iron Man 2.
Yep.
So there was a 2-year gap there, effectively, between phase films. In 2008, we got The Dark Knight. That for
Yeah,
perspective,
yeah, we did.
that's how long ago the DCEU example is behind Marvel.
Yes.
Because they'd already got a different set of films out at that time. In the interim of all of this happening, Iron Man's happened. We've set up our Avengers kind of like solo films effectively, and then launched into the Avengers in 2012. That's when we got Man of Steel.
Yep.
So
Man of Steel was 2012, wasn't it?
Yep. So because I think we
God.
had The Dark Knight Rises. I think must have come out at some point, maybe 2011.
Maybe.
They rebooted an entire universe, like, in the time that MCU just set up and basically just established itself as, like, this huge thing. It is the ultimate universe.
Yeah.
Because it kind of started with Iron Man. They didn't have to then do anything else. They could have just done Iron Man films. But you kind of look at Iron Man and you just go, this is a world where superheroes exist. Thor probably is there somewhere. You're kind of not surprised that Thor then turns up, stuff like that. Whereas DC have just gone, yeah, Superman. Superman exists in this world. Yeah, so does Batman. Batman's been around for 20 years. Maybe we probably could have done something with that beforehand. Oh, and Wonder Woman's been alive for millions of years. We're going to put them all together before we're going to introduce any of this. Like, DC fell over their own feet to do
They flashed it.
They did.
They did.
Because he can't run.
No.
And that's all he can do. He can eat pizza. Apparently, he
can
eats
eat
a
a lot.
lot of pizza. I wish I could. Yeah, so so I guess we're just gonna hit and hope.
Yeah, sort of go for it from 5
From 5
down to 1
down to
and
1.
hope for the best.
So, what is your number 5, Christopher?
Oh, I'm going first, am I? I'm going to find my list.
I feel like because you're like the host and
okay.
I'm the guest, but you can't afford anybody else, so I'm just like a perpetual guest. I will laugh so hard if every single one of ours is the same.
Oh, it's going to be terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. We're just going to be like, yeah, that's a good film. Yeah, that's a good film. Okay, guys, see you later.
Number 5,
Yeah.
I'm going for the starting point, 2008 Iron Man.
Oh, fair enough. I have got Captain America Civil War.
Ooh.
What's the reason you've chosen yours?
It's just a sweetheart movie in my eyes. It's the start of it all. It still holds a dear place. I love the original armor design in it. Probably the best until the one that we're gonna get in Infinity War.
Oh, what, like, suit-wise?
Yeah. It's the only time we see... It wasn't Cuba Gooding Jr. Who was it?
Do you know what? I thought it was as well. It is, Terrence Howard.
Yes.
Apparently. No. A
Why
lot
did I think it was
of
Cuba?
people are probably screaming at you going, oh my god, how can you confuse them? And it was only when I heard somebody else talking about it that I went, shit, it wasn't Cuba Gooding Jr., was it? It was someone else.
I saw a poster in London recently for Chicago, and his face was on that. I'm going to go with that as the reason he's in my head.
Okay.
Oh, he's in London doing theatre production.
Well, not for long. He's going to get replaced by Don Cheadle.
Or Terrence Howard.
Just
Other reasons.
as a side note,
Yeah.
I do not care for Don Cheadle as War Machine. I understand they had to replace him.
Yes.
But I just don't think he was necessarily the right person to choose after.
No. I like Obadiah as a villain.
Oh god.
As kind of like as an early
No,
sort of
that's
villain.
that's not a bad one. That is he's because it's Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
And as like an early villain, if we look back on him as a villain now, he's bland. He's sort of as good as Eccleston's Malekith.
Yeah.
He's there to serve a purpose.
He falls into the category, unfortunately, that the MCU does have of villain goes crazy for no reason.
Yes.
That can be said for so many of the villains.
Which is a shame. It sort of works well with his time period, with him sort of selling all the weapons in Iraq and stuff.
Yeah.
The Ten Rings, which then becomes a focal point later on, which I like, gets cool packed.
I mean, it's the best Iron Man film.
Yes, is the other thing for me. It's my favourite of the Iron Man
great
films.
Pool to choose
It's
from.
it's the start also of Tony being his own worst enemy.
Oh god. Well, I mean, it's the start because it's his first film.
Well, I mean, he could have been completely different in his first film.
Off the bat, he basically creates all of his own villains because he refuses to share the technology with Obadiah Stane. That doesn't sound right.
It's Obadiah Stane.
Okay, so bang, we'll get rid of that. I'm just going to call him Jeff Bridges, because he's Ironmonger effectively.
He's Ironmonger,
so
yes.
That's what he's thinking.
The fights are great compared to all the other superhero movies we had sort of before that and around that time. It was great. It was a real refresh. It was a superhero movie, but not stupid enough like the Fantastic Four films we had. It wasn't like wacky superheroes.
So, like we said earlier, the direct film at the same time was The Dark Knight, which is kind of gritty and grounded, which is fine if that's what you want to do with your character. But I think the MCU just kind of went, comics are mental, and let's just throw stuff in that is mental.
Yeah.
They've gone, people will just be on board with it, because fans of these characters will be like, yeah, I enjoy this. I know what's going on.
Mm.
I mean, I guess the whole Jarvis thing was a little bit sketchy, which turned out to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, and obviously it's not without its faults. It completely rewrites the character of Tony Stark and Iron Man, because he comes out at the end and he's just like, I am Iron Man. Which obviously in the comic books and TV series before, Iron Man was his bodyguard, which they do hint at, which is a nice little Easter egg.
Happy Hogan's great.
Happy Hogan is great. Jon Favreau
Being
which
Jon
he
Favreau.
directed as well. He directed the film.
The first two.
Yeah, and then he gets punished in the third one.
Yeah, Shane Black just goes, I don't want you in this anymore.
Yeah.
You're a fan of Downton Abbey. Okay.
There's not many reasons. It's just a soft spot in my heart that gets it rank 5. It stayed in that top thing for ages.
Well,
there's lots of origins,
because
there's Doctor Strange, which still follows a similar suit. Black Panther follows a similar suit. But as far as sort of origins go, it's my favourite origin because it is the origin of all origins.
The MCU.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I picked Captain America Civil War because Captain America is one of my favourite characters in the MCU, but his films are piss poor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is the high. This is my. I'm going to show into what the rest of my list is. This is the highest ranking Captain America film I'm giving. It could be Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
but I have many issues with that film.
Okay.
Mainly. Shield goes down. Where the fuck are the rest of the Avengers? That bugs me so much.
But Civil War does compensate. Why isn't Thor in this? Because it does like all these little offshoot things. Where's Thor? Oh, he's dicking around in Australia with this guy.
Oh god, those are brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah, so I guess
okay,
Civil War makes up for it.
Civil War is my favourite because it's a villain that I'm on board with because he's not a superhero. He's not a super villain.
Yeah, it's a really weird.
It's taken Helmut Zemo, who I'm told he's purple.
His outfit is purple.
Oh, okay, cool. But like they've just gone, we're using him, and here's his motivation for doing what he's doing, and I am 100% on board with it.
Oh yeah,
what he's doing is for the right reasons.
Yes.
He's doing it badly, but I like the way round he's doing it.
Yes.
I think the airport scene is one of the best things we've seen in MCU. Giant Man alone.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
It was just great. And then like Tony's reaction to, has anybody got anything shockingly amazing on our team that we can just pull out of the bag? And it's like, yeah, because it got spoiled through the toy lines. Everything does beforehand. Yeah. So you knew that Giant Man was going to be in it. But just the fact, just when it happens and like the plane's like right by his knee and he moves slowly because that's how the motion would work, and it's like it's just so great, and like Paul Rudd's face is like, oh, this is amazing. Like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man is brilliant.
It is good.
The ending for me, so the where it falls down is that Tony Stark can't accept blame, but he does accept blame, and it's like it's an ironic way because like he's at the start he's giving that little TED talk and he gives all the students money, and then the woman comes up to her and she's like, oh, this is my son, you murdered him.
Yeah.
And then he uses that against the Avengers later. It's like, you don't get to take the moral high ground here. This is your fault as well. The way he puts himself about, he is blameless. And because he is the reason him and, I guess, Bruce Banner created Ultron, it's 100% their fault. Ultron's mad-ass idea of just chucking a rock at the planet and starting the world over again is stupid as well. Tony Stark is the problem with that film.
Tony Stark's the problem with any film that he's in.
So Civil War ends with the fight between the three of them. The fight is brilliant, but once again, Tony Stark proves that he is incapable without the Iron Man suit. Captain America is an all-round good person, incredibly skilled. Okay, he's gifted the powers that he has, but he doesn't stupidly wave them around. He adapts. The difference between a Captain America, the First Avenger, and the Winter Soldier is you go, this man has clearly just spent the last few years honing his craft. The shield throwing is flawless. The way he fights, the way he rises to other people who are better fighters than him, he adapts. Tony Stark can't beat Captain America, so Friday has to figure it out. He's like, analyze the fight pattern, and it's like, okay, he's gonna hit you there, block it, and then he does, and then like fights on, and it's like, no. And then he does his own thing of going batshit crazy for no reason. And I hate it, because he's really pissed off that the Winter Soldier killed his parents.
Which is understandable.
It's understandable, but he just loses it for no reason. We've just gone through a whole situation where you know this guy is brainwashed.
Yeah.
And that somebody else is pulling all the strings. Someone who is in that fucking silo
Okay, so out of Iron Man and Civil War, what takes position number 5 then?
I personally will give it to Iron Man because
Because it's the start of his arsehole ways that that essentially culminates in your one.
in my one, the thing is, Chris Evans just does such a good job in that role
Yeah.
that he deserves to be on this list.
Okay.
But his films aren't good, and I feel really bad because I enjoy him so much. I enjoy the
He has
character.
cameos in lots of films, so he might get away on it. He might sneak it in.
Should have gone with Thor: The Dark World then for that one cameo he's got. But yeah, Captain America for me is one of the best characters in the MCU, if not the best character. As far as the 3 trilogies that we've got at the moment, his are the strongest ones, but they're still not the best that we've got. So I'm putting Civil War in there purely because Captain deserves to be on the list.
Okay.
And I'll surrender it immediately because I don't think Civil War is as good as Iron Man.
Okay, so Iron Man takes the 5th
So
slot.
Chris is winning 1-0.
1 point. Okay, so number 4.
Yep, number 4.
You go first.
Well, as the winner.
I choose you to go
you
first this time,
dictate
because I
it.
went first
So
last
this
time.
is just me on the back foot for the rest of this now, isn't it? Because I'll probably surrender.
So yeah, I went first last time. You can take the reins on this one. So number 4. In your own time.
Just edit this silence out where I'm clearly responding to a text message.
That's fine. I know my lack of importance.
So this, I think, is possibly where it will fall down because I reckon you'll have picked this film somewhere else.
Okay.
It's Homecoming.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what?
Have you picked Homecoming?
Homecoming's my number 4 as well. This is brilliant.
This is good.
Oh, after a riveting...
So why do you think it should be on the list, Chris? Because if you say the one thing that I'm going to say...
Is it the villain?
It's Michael Keaton as the Vulture.
Yeah, it's one of the best villains.
Yeah,
in the MCU.
I would argue that our villains have been getting stronger because I think you're going with they shouldn't always be throwawayable characters. Like Ronan from the Guardians of the Galaxy film is a fucking unit not to be messed with. He's just dead, never used again.
He's one of the few villains that you can confirm is dead.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, Michael Keaton. Apart from anything else, Michael Keaton just puts in a hell of a performance.
Yes,
which is great.
He's on a career
high.
Yeah, career high renaissance as it was. As soon as you meet him, he's just
you're okay with him.
You're okay with it because you sort of get it. He's just like, oh, it's Tony Stark again, because he's just like, oh, he's created this mess and now he thinks he can clean it up and take away the work from the little men.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you know what? No, we'll keep this stuff and we'll see what we can do.
Tony Stark creates a villain of a film that he's in again.
Yeah, but it's a villain that he doesn't want to deal with. He's just like, I'll just call the FBI or something.
That really does let it down a little bit.
It's such a good film. All the way up to it coming out, there was so much
hype.
I would say negativity around it because it was like we've seen so much in all of these trailers. It's bad. Oh, it's going to be a high school romp film. This sounds terrible.
I'm guilty for this as well. I didn't want to see it because I didn't want to see another Spider-Man film, and I don't care about Tony Stark. I only went to see it because you told me it was amazing.
I saw it 3 times before it came out on home release, as it was. I saw it once,
twice, 3
I saw
times.
it the second time with you,
Spider-Man.
and the 3rd time on the plane. On the plane ride.
If we haven't mentioned, Chris went to Japan for 6 months.
I did.
He doesn't stop banging on about it.
Well, you know.
It's the only thing that
good plane
happens
ride.
in your life.
Yes.
Good plane ride.
Good plane ride.
Because that's the best part of
Top
going
quality.
to Japan.
Oh yeah.
The 18 hours you spent on a plane in one go.
Yeah, it turned out to be a really well put together film. It was a high school film, but it worked. It wasn't awkward like Tobey Maguire's high school antics.
Well, Tobey Maguire was a 40-year-old man as Spider-Man.
The villain was somewhat relatable. You could get behind him. As an adult watching it, you're like, well, yeah, my job's just been taken by this rich guy.
Let's
of course I'm going to be angry.
Yeah.
Fantastic performance in it. Tom Holland is fantastic as well.
Tom Holland is one of the... I mean, I guess we've only got 3 to choose from. But
right, but
it definitely,
as that, you can choose as like,
is
he a good Spider-Man? Is he a good Peter Parker?
Right, okay.
Like, I think Andrew Garfield is a good Spider-Man. I don't think he's a good Peter Parker.
We can all agree that Tobey Maguire, which wasn't good either of them then.
I mean, he was a good Dark Spider-Man, wasn't he?
He can dance.
Clicking and dancing.
Well, apart from anything else...
I mean, that was the other refreshing thing. We didn't have the Uncle Ben backstory. It was hinted at, but through the effects on Aunt May.
Yeah, I think what we didn't need when Amazing Spider-Man came out was another Origins. We didn't need to be showing what Spider-Man...
We need to see another old man dying.
Yeah, I mean, at least this time it was one that we cared about, because I actually was quite a little bit upset when you see Martin Sheen.
Yeah. But it wasn't a good death scene. It wasn't as good as the original, I think.
No, the original was quite good. And Tom Holland is a good Spider-Man.
Yes.
He's an alright Peter Parker. I find Peter Parker is very difficult to get right.
Yeah.
Because Peter Parker, before he gets the 5 minutes of Peter Parker that's only ever really known of him before he gets the powers, is he's a nerd. And they nail him being a nerd. And in Civil War, like, Tony Stark pulls him out on it, like, you can do all these fantastic things, why don't you do them? He's like, I didn't play football before, so why would I play football now?
Yeah.
It would look weird if I did. And that's a fair point. That's kind of the stuff that they do with him. They kind of go, yeah, it happened. I got these powers. I've come to terms with it. I don't need you to come to terms with it. I don't care.
Yeah. And the best bit in that film is where everything's going absolutely perfect for Spider-Man, and then it just changes with that one thing.
When he opens the door.
Yeah.
Well, that unfortunately falls into the character of every other Spider-Man film where the villain is known to Peter Parker.
See,
because they always are.
Yeah, my friend on Twitter was posting about it. She's like, oh, it was a really good film. And at this one point, I knew something bad was going to happen because anytime anything goes right for Peter Parker, something bad just comes around and knocks him for 6.
Yeah. And I didn't see it coming. I should have done because it was.
Because I remember I'd obviously seen it.
Yeah.
Turned to you to watch your expression, and it was brilliant.
Because as soon as he opens the door and he realizes that his love interest's dad, and you see that it's Michael Keaton, and you just kind of go, oh. It's on now. Yeah. And then he shifts completely.
Yeah.
He is so happy, and he's got this corsage, are they called?
Something
it's
like that.
That little brooch thing that they wear, and he's super excited to do this, and then he just shifts. He's like, this is the guy that I have been trying to stop, and he's a very dangerous man, and all of a sudden it's kind of grounded for him now that
he clocks him straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it's in the car ride to the prom where he starts to...
What's the character's name?
Other
than
Adrian.
Vulture. Is it?
It's Adrian.
I just call him Vulture. But then Vulture works it out in the car. Because he's like, oh, did you enjoy the trip to Washington? And he's like, oh, I did, yeah. It's like, did you see the Spider-Man? He's like, I wasn't there at the time. He's like, and he already recognises his voice.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, and then he's kind of like figuring it out. And he's like, sends the girl out. It's like, I'm just going to have the dad talk and everything. It's just kind of like, you mess up anything and I will kill you.
Yeah.
I do not care who you are. I will do anything to protect my family. I think the great thing is that Peter Parker, for like the final scene where they're fighting, Peter Parker, he rises above it. I could let you die.
Yeah.
You, in my opinion, may deserve to die because what you're doing is horrible. You're going to sell these weapons. These weapons are going to get used, and you as a result may cause more death. But I can't, in all honesty, in all good conscience, stop you because you are my girlfriend's dad, and I think if he hadn't known him,
it's a whole
he
Uncle
would
Ben
have just
thing as
killed him. Oh, well, like a father figure.
Yeah. I know what it's like to lose someone.
Yeah, so I can't let that happen to her, and then they just move away or something, don't they?
Well, they get put into like
witness protection,
something like that.
Yeah.
Because then he goes to prison. One of the few that we know 100% survives.
Which is good because
who's he meet inside? Scorpion. Yes.
And he doesn't out him as well. Like he knows.
Yeah.
And I like that as like an understanding. Like
we getting Scorpion for the second film villain then probably.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's the only thing that's sort of established.
I just want Paul Giamatti back as Rhino.
No, you don't.
Hello, Spider-Man.
So yeah.
So I guess we're just putting Homecoming in at number 4.
Homecoming wins at number 4.
Both love it.
So that's
that's a draw. So you're still winning, which means I have to then say.
So it's 2-1. Yeah. Have we got a forfeit?
A forfeit?
Yeah.
I'll drink the rest of the fireball.
Oh, okay, cool. And if I lose? I have to drink the rest of the fireball.
No, if you win, if you lose, we play a Taylor Swift song and I punch you in the balls.
Oh no. We should do another one like this and set up a forfeit. Maybe get anyone who's listening to suggest what we could do as a punishment.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good fun.
I guess maybe shut up would be the first thing they tell us to do.
Talk more about Red Dwarf.
I like that bit we were talking about Red Dwarf, and it just derailed when you started talking about comic books.
You ready for your number 3?
Do
you think this is going to be the same or a different?
No, I don't think this will be the same.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a debate again.
Do you reckon this is now where it's going to go change?
I think we're not going to have the same from now on.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee you, based on my top 3.
I mean, it's impressive that we both chose Homecoming at number 4, considering the amount of number of films.
My number 3 is Doctor Strange.
Oh, that's Very interesting. I haven't got to say, because last time for number 4, I was just like, oh, that's really interesting. I've also got it. My number 3 is the first Avengers film.
See, I wanted to put it on there. I wanted to put the first Avengers film on there, but I didn't know where to put it. It would have probably been where Civil War was.
So, the fun story for me with Avengers film is that it's been my number 1 for so long.
Yeah.
And it's only started recently to drop down.
Because the quality of the films has been getting a
Yes.
little bit. I think if we were to boil it down to what is the best part of that film, if we were to both say it at the same time...
I don't know how we'd both say it, though.
Okay, so it's not the same thing then.
Oh, what's your one?
Loki.
Oh, yeah, Loki is the best thing. So, yeah, Loki is the standout star of that film.
But well, the thing, I guess the thing about Avengers is that you can kind of just go story because you don't have to establish anyone because you know all the characters.
It does it really well. It's all of them coming together in what's been sort of hinted at all the little after credit scenes and little hints in all of the films up to that point.
I'm going to lose this, aren't
I? Look forward to that fireball.
I don't know where it is.
It all comes together and you're like, oh, they're together. And then it does the break with Loki's plan working. And then they all come together again in the final act and beat. Comes together and it sets up its own potential paths for other stories. Thor and Loki go back, so something's going to happen with them.
Yeah.
Iron Man's a bit shaky. Something might happen there.
Yeah.
What happens with Cap? Cap goes back to S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, he goes off with S.H.I.E.L.D., doesn't he?
Would do, yeah.
Hawkeye and Romanoff, also S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Does Stark and Banner go off together?
Well, the very last thing that happens in that film is they all go and eat shawarma.
Oh, yeah, at the end of the fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously, the biggest story takeaway from Avengers is the after credit scene of...
Oh, the reveal.
To challenge the Avengers to court death itself, and that turn and smirk.
Yes. That is also not Josh Brolin.
No, it's not, which is a shame.
It is a shame because I quite like the way that guy sounds.
He didn't say anything. He just turns around and smirks, but it's the look.
There's definitely like a grinning...
There might be a...
Yeah, there's a sound to it, and I guess you could just get anybody, but it's because you just gotta go... It's not a famous actor, it's just a good voice.
Yeah.
As far as the Avengers not working for me, it's a very good film. Coulson's... And I guess that's not a thing against the Avengers, is that he comes back.
Yeah.
I don't like that he comes back because his death is the reason they start working
Haiti is
together.
a wonderful place.
Is it?
That's the project that revives him is called Haiti, and that's what he says throughout the entire first and second series of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I haven't watched any Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I refuse to because it looks terrible. I guess it's not a fault of the film, but they fight an army, which they did in Ultron again, and they're going to do in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Loki...
That's raising the stakes, isn't it? One person would be sort of easy to take on, so an army is...
I read that Loki always intended to lose. Is that he didn't want to win, and it's the thing that Coulson says before he dies. Is like, you won't win, you lack conviction.
Yeah.
And it's because he doesn't want to win. And the idea is that he's always been working for Thanos.
Okay. Oh, what, even when he was like young, short hair?
Well, I mean, because he's given the Chitauri thing by Thanos.
Yes.
Or well, by the other dude that Rona just kills.
Snaps his neck, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just like does something with the hammer and he just like twists
Yeah.
completely. I love that moment
That's
because he's just kind of like, "Shut up! I'm not talking to you. Talking to the big purple raisin." Big purple Josh Brolin raisin. And I don't know. That kind of almost ruins it for me. That Loki wanted to lose. I mean, it may just turn out just to not be true anyway.
Well,
but
he's always had his own.
He's always had his own agenda.
Yeah. Okay, so please
Doctor
talk
Strange.
about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was going to make it in my top ones.
Did you swap it out from number 5? Because I'd have just surrendered.
It was really...
Again.
It was...
I picked all of mine to lose.
No, my number 5 originally was Ragnarok.
Mm.
But I swapped it back around with Iron Man. But
Wow,
Iron Man and Doctor Strange are very, very close
yes,
for me.
I can understand why. They're effectively the same film.
Yeah, but Doctor Strange is now sort of like a modern version of it with updated everything.
Yeah, I guess because Doctor Strange is an origins film, which we've had a lot of. I would have liked for Benedict Cumberbatch to have remained English. I don't mind his American accent, but I think as an English accent, his voice is already really powerful.
Yes, it is.
But I guess then you'd have just gone, it's Sherlock. So I guess
Yeah.
they kind of would have had to anyway. For me, Doctor Strange is one of the best. Well, I mean, I've put it in my top 5. It's just visually so amazing. I know there's only that real one scene
I
where...
would have hated to have watched it in 3D.
Oh, what, like an IMAX?
Yeah.
You've just been vomiting
Jesus.
all day. But like the bit where like he's there and he doesn't believe that it's magic, and she does that thing to his head, and then he goes floats through all of
she
his stuff.
Pushes him, and his body.
Yeah, that's the astral, astral plane. But there's the bit where he just kind of like floats through all of like space and time, and you can hear like the chant of Dormammu in the background.
Yeah.
That visually is insane. It's one of the best visually to look at. It's a bit like Nowhere from Guardians of the Galaxy, because and then again I
It's
guess
like if Nowhere and Inception had a love child.
yes, because it just visually looks amazing. And I guess it was only really done for that, because the rest of it looks pretty standard, like the world's falling in on themselves. They do look visually amazing, but
Yeah.
I found that falling through space, then his fingers grow hands, and then they keep growing, and then all that wacky psychedelic stuff. It really kind of just went, I love that they've just gone, magic exists, and it's batshit crazy. But I just think it's great to look at.
Mhm.
He is just Tony Stark, which I'm not a big fan of.
But with redemption.
Yes, he goes through this horrible thing that he does to himself. He doesn't drink drive, but he drives like a lunatic, and then as a result his hands are crushed. In the comics, he just drink drives and crashes, and it's his own fault. But that's the great thing about him, is that he goes through this and it comes out the other side. Tony Stark has yet to come out the other side, because everything that happens to him is like, I'm still alive, I'm amazing.
He goes through, I'm doing this for myself, and then he sort of learns to...
He learns that the world is bigger.
Yes.
And that I think is through magic as well, is that magic is not something that... It's sort of like something you interpret and you can use. It's not within you. So like if he wants to use his hands, he needs to learn the magic ways. But yeah, the villain...
Which one?
Yeah, you could argue there's 3 or even 4, but what is the Caecilius, played by Mads Mikkelsen? Brilliant to see Mads Mikkelsen in the MCU. I would like to see him in more things in the MCU. Don't think we'll ever get him again.
I think Caecilius is one that's sort of dead.
Yeah, which is understandable. But like the reason for him going against the Ancient One is kind of okay.
Yeah, it's another semi-justified thing.
I'd say it's probably on par with the justification of the villain from Black Panther.
Yeah.
I kind of don't really care,
but
but
you
I
can
understand where they're coming from. Caecilius believes that because the Ancient One pulls power from the dark universe, where like Dormammu is, in order to stay alive, he believes that means that she is in the wrong. Which I guess is fine, but then they interpret the stuff from the dark universe as like unlimited power. And they're like, why has she got this? Everyone should have this. Why are they keeping this information
Why is she keeping this
from
for
us?
herself?
So then the Ancient One...
Is she one of the villains you counted?
Yeah, because she in turn creates Mordo. And then, so...
Dormammu to end with.
And Dormammu to end with. And I love that he, Doctor Strange just goes, this is a realm.
It's a fantastic final fight, as
it
was.
And it's just kind of like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And he's kind of like, oh, what's going on? I don't like this.
Yeah.
And it just keeps happening. But
it's 100... do we know how long?
It supposedly happens for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
In that it can happen because there is no time.
Yeah.
He could just go there. They could spend an hour talking to each other, and then Dormammu will kill him.
Yeah.
Or he could go, oh, it's you again, killed. It can happen as many times as you really want it to.
Yeah.
And that's the bit where I love it, because that's Doctor Strange all over. He is the endurance of all of the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
He goes, if this is how long it takes, I will do it, because I know that the end will be fine.
Yeah.
But I've got to put the
end
hours
justifies the
in.
means.
And that's where he as a character is best, and you see it right there. He goes, this is going to happen. I don't care what you think. I'm going to keep doing this. And he's dying. He's being killed every time.
Yeah.
That's going to be painful.
Yeah.
I don't care what universe you're from. That's got to hurt.
Wonderful.
So yeah, I think Doctor Strange is worthy. It's going up against Avengers though.
It is going up against Avengers.
Which is really difficult. I'm more convinced of my choice
Yeah.
than I am of like when I did Captain America.
Oh, okay. I'm
I
trying to think for sort of like legacy how it plays up. It obviously
I
feeds
think
into Ragnarok.
I think it's difficult to put an origin film up against Avengers because Avengers was just so good. I did enjoy that film. I don't want to surrender, but I feel like it's going to be quite difficult for me to say Doctor Strange is as good as Avengers.
You got to say it's better because it's got to take the spot.
It's got to take the spot. See, I'm trying to argue that Doctor Strange is the third best film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Oh, what are you putting it up against? The first Avengers film. Oh, you mean one of the best films they made? I don't want to back down, but I get the feeling I'm going to have to.
Because it's Avengers.
It's Avengers. It's so difficult.
Would it make you feel better if we knock Iron Man off, push Homecoming to 5th, and put put
Doctor
Strange
Strange
at 4? Would that make you happy?
No, because then you'll have lost that point.
No, I'll
which
still
means
keep
that
the
we
point.
Can't retroactively go back and change it.
Okay.
No, we'll stick to our rules. One of them's got to win. Should we do rock paper scissors for it?
No.
That's my best chance of winning. I've picked bad films.
It's my secret, Ben. I'm always right.
I'm always strange. I don't. In my heart.
Caecilius versus Loki.
That's unfair. We've seen more of Loki.
Loki versus all the villains in Doctor Strange. Not versus Doctor Strange, because we've seen what happens there.
Yeah. Oh, God. I've been falling for 30 minutes. So Thor's just like, oh, so Earth has wizards now.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not from Earth. You can't judge.
Wizards coming and stealing all of my magic.
Yeah, I know. I've got to let this go, haven't I? It's
Afraid
not,
so.
It's not as good as Avengers.
I'm trying to sort of think of any reason to sort of sympathise and reason, but it's Avengers.
It's Avengers. That's fine.
I'm sorry.
Chris wins again. I don't think I can defeat you. Can't defeat you.
I think I've won now. Unless I lose the next 2, and then it's a draw. In which case we both lose.
Yeah, everyone loses this. Yeah.
So number 2. Am I going first, or do you want to go first?
I'll continue with tradition and be
Okay.
the loser of the last one has to go first.
Sorry.
Okay.
You go.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Is it?
Yeah, I think you picked Volume 2.
I have picked Volume 2. This is
So it was a toss-up between...
James Gunn, here we go.
It's a toss-up between whether or not I picked Volume 1 or Volume 2.
Oh.
And deep down, the reason I've picked Volume 1
Yes.
is because in Volume 2, you could argue that it's basically just Volume 1 again.
Yes.
I love both those films. For me, the sheer surprise can't happen again from when I watched Guardians 1. Because in Guardians 2,
Yeah.
I was expecting stuff to happen, and it did, and I was happy that it did.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not prepared for the first Guardians film, and it knocked me so for 6 that I loved it so much. Every time a new song played, I was just so in love with it. The stuff that happens, I was like, I'm on board with this. I love this so much. And when Volume 2 came around, I was like, yep, good, I like that song. Okay, yep, great. I'm happy with what's happening,
Yeah.
but I was expecting it.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting Volume 1, and that's why I've picked Volume 1.
See,
I think Volume 2 might be a better film, but for the initial, oh, holy shit, this is
Yeah.
amazing
So-
moment.
your reaction to 1 is my reaction to 2.
Oh, okay.
I watched 1, I enjoyed 1, but I didn't really think about it that much until we did... Because when we went to go and see Guardians,
We did the
we did the
double
midnight
bill.
one of the double bill. I then garnered more of an appreciation for the first one. And I was like, oh, the first one's actually really good. I forgot how good it was. And then the second one just fucking jumped me and...
It does turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me just reel off the reasons why number 2 is a great film for me.
Hasselhoff is in it.
Hasselhoff. Ego.
Because you
I
said
think-
Ego is your favourite.
He's my favourite MCU villain.
Yeah.
Because you know Ego's bad, but everything you sort of see up until the turning point is
God, there's that
just
moment,
good.
isn't
It's
it?
the turning point.
It's the turning point.
It's evil.
It is, it's evil.
Just so evil.
It is.
Uh,
The idea you just want to be everyone and everything. It's an unnecessary thing to
No,
do.
not that. That's pretty generic. That's why I had to
That's
kill your
why I had
mum.
to
It's
kill
just
your
like,
mum.
No, it's
'Cause, I mean,
fantastic.
He is manipulating him to every degree.
Yeah. And he's doing it so well that you're
yeah.
manipulated as well,
You're-
almost. So yeah, ego,
Here you go.
everything with Yondu as a character development
That is.
within the space of
Did you
1.5 hours, 2 hours.
Did you think he was going to die?
No.
Okay. See, I saw that coming a mile off because there's just too much interaction.
No, I thought just legitimate character development
Yeah.
for him. It's just so tough.
This
is the worst thing because it's the same film.
But soundtrack, well, there you go. That should be reason why my film should win because they're the same film. Mine came first.
That Yondu bit though,
The Yondu bit is
with Cat Stevens playing.
see, that's actually the reason why your film should win is for the very first thing and the very last thing that happens. So the very first thing that happens in Guardians 2, or at least the bit that I'm thinking of is the big like alien that they've been hired to stop.
Oh,
And then Groot plugs in the player,
Yes.
and Mr. Blue Sky plays, and I wasn't prepared for how good that was going to be because then
that was amazing.
you're taken completely out of the fight. It's happening in the background, you can see
Yeah.
it, but you are following Groot dancing to Mr. Blue Sky, and you just go, I'm on board with this.
Yes.
This is how a film should open so strongly. And then the film is very, very good afterwards as well, but it opens so well. The ending of Volume 2 has made me cry every time I've watched it.
Yeah.
Because the song, Father and Son by Cat Stevens, is a very powerful song anyway. And the visuals that it's put to are insane. The fireworks going off, the fact that all of the Ravagers come.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Great that Sylvester Stallone is in this film as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I suppose, sorry,
the
so
original
technically
Guardians,
as well.
isn't it?
But yeah, Volume 2 ends in a very, very strong way because James Gunn puts in a bunch of after-credit scenes.
Yeah.
But realistically, that film has ended.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful way to end.
You know what's really annoying?
What?
I've been sat here for maybe like the last 5 minutes, just slowly accepting that Guardians 1 should win.
We haven't discussed the villain for Volume 1 yet.
I don't think we need to.
Do you think it's already won with both the other aspects?
I think it's one with the fact that Guardians 2 is Guardians 1 turned up to 11, which is probably why, as I said, I love Guardians 2 so much because it is the first one, but it's... I don't know. I just like it more. The villain is better.
The villain is better. I do.
But
still
Ronan
love...
still has an impact. You still remember him.
Great impact. Because, well, this is it. This is why the next film. This is why Volume 1 should win. Because I have yet to see a film where the villain is about to destroy a planet, and then someone goes, "Dance off, bro. Me and you." And it's like, of course, that's how he's gonna stop the villain. Because that's what this film is. This film isn't. I'm going to distract you in some way. Like, you can keep them talking, explain their plan, the whole Sideshow Bob thing with Bart. But he doesn't. He just goes, he starts singing the song, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, dance off, bro, me and you. He tries to get Gamora to do it, and she's like, I'm terrified.
Oh, wait, back to me.
He literally has to drop that hammer, and we're all dead, and you're fucking dancing. Because then he screams at him, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just distracting you because that's been happening off screen. And he's just kind of like, and then they just fire it. And then he grabs the gem and he doesn't die. He should die almost instantly like the girl did at the collect. But then he doesn't die, but he's close. And like Ronan thinks he's going to. Like it all happens in kind of like slow motion.
Yeah.
But his face is, you're gonna die now. Yeah. I barely held on to it in my hand and then I put it in the hammer, otherwise I'd have died. You're nothing, you are gonna die.
Yeah.
And then they all slowly come together.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how is this possible? And they just go, we're the Guardians of the Galaxy. You're not prepared for anything in Volume 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's
because it just
completely off.
Keeps happening.
Yeah.
Everything that happens just, you're like, oh, okay, giant talking tree that can only say, I am Groot, but Rocket can understand him. And I like in the second one that everyone's learning to understand him.
Yes.
Because, like, Star-Lord's like, I'm not boring, you're boring.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. I quite like that level of it.
So, with that, though, I think it's safe to say that with the impact that Guardians 1 had, and the fact that 2, I guess, is the same film, dialed up to 11, Guardians 1 wins, which means you get your first actual victory. We drew on 4. Yep.
Guardians 1, Ben. 3, 2.
Oh god, I'm dreading this one.
I'm trying to think what you'd have picked because I've got an idea and I think you're dreading it because I've already slated it.
Maybe.
I'm gonna call it now.
Yeah,
I think you've picked Winter Soldier.
I have picked Winter Soldier.
Nailed it.
Oh, what have you picked?
I
Thor.
Thor.
Thor the first.
Thor the first Thor. Because
Thor the first Thor.
for the main reason of probably the same thing that I've just gone into quite a lot of detail with about Guardians.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by just visually the people in it. I think it's let down with its attempt at humour because the whole fish out of water thing
Yeah.
for Thor when he arrives on Earth
Mm-hmm.
is really good, but it's underused. Anyone who's seen Star Trek 4, what's that one called?
Khan's birthday party.
We steal a whale.
Okay.
Like it's them. They've time travelled
Right.
back to like what was then present day Earth. So it's like the 80s. And the interaction of Spock and people of the 80s in America is brilliant. Someone nearly runs over Kirk and Spock, and he's like, "Get out of the road, dumbass!" And like they both look at each other, super confused, and then Kirk just goes, "And a double dumbass to you too." It's like it makes no sense, but it's so stupid, and you find it really funny when you watch it. I maybe didn't do it justice, but there's a lot of that fish out of water humour stuff that goes on in there, and it's why it's one of the best Star Trek films. I was expecting that in Thor,
Okay.
and you get a bit of it, like when they're in the diner and he's like, "This drink, I like it, bring me another," and it just smashes it. It's kind of like, that's not what
you do
do.
in Valhalla.
Yeah. So there's bits of it like that, but the humour, I felt it could have been a little bit more like Spock in 80s San Francisco. I like that in order to get him like into S.H.I.E.L.D. they call him Donald Blake, because that's his name, that's his Earth name.
Yeah.
It annoys me though that there is actually a Donald Blake in existence because it's her ex-boyfriend.
Yes, it was.
So technically there is already a Donald Blake.
I just taking his name.
I like the idea that it's like Liam Hemsworth, but he's already been in it.
In the third one, which also Donald Blake throwbacks make an appearance in the third one because his hammer is the
umbrella. Yep, great little bit in there. But yeah, he gets banished to Earth. He doesn't quite realise the potential, the circumstances that he doesn't have his power.
Yeah, because he's just like,
Because
"Oh, I'm gonna go get my hammer."
Yeah, I get my hammer and everything will be fine. And then he can't lift it. That's when you see that Loki's behind a lot of this.
Yes.
Because he's like, "Oh no, Father has banished you." And Father, for some reason, falls into the Odin sleep. Is it called that because he's called Odin? If Thor did it, is it the Thor sleep?
It is,
That's stupid.
because it's
It's called a coma.
when
Because it's called a sad coma.
he has the Odin Force, then when Thor becomes king, he has the Thor Force.
Force.
No, the Thor Force.
Force.
The Thor Force.
The Force.
The Force.
Force.
Force with a TH.
Force. So
the Norse Force.
the Norse Force. The Thor Force. There's kind of like there's bits that's touched on, like he's potentially lived for like thousands of years. At the very least, he's lived for hundreds of years, because they like, you can't just go down to Earth, summon a bit of lightning, and be called a god, which is what
They would have done.
Yeah, and that's why they're like
They're gods.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we understand as Thor. Thor is Norse mythology to us because he must have done that at some point, summoned some lightning, and everyone just went, "Jesus, this guy's a god," and then just fucked off. And it's been in our history for so long. So obviously Thor ages very, very slowly. In our terms, he probably whatever their terms.
Well, they're
They've been-
gods or aliens, depending.
Yeah, they've been
where
around for
you
like
stand in
thousands
the
of
MCU.
years. So I find it really, really difficult because, like, when his love interest's like Natalie Portman, she's gonna die and he's gonna look exactly the same.
Yeah, but
he kind of goes mortal or something, isn't he, when he's on Earth until he gets the power of Thor back.
yeah,
It's Thor's.
I guess it's kind of the Hercules
Yeah,
thing.
very much so. Yeah, basically.
It's Disney, so it must be.
Yeah, exactly. And the scene where that big Gort thing comes down.
The Destroyer?
Yeah, with the face.
The Destroyer.
The Sentinel. And it's Loki controlling it.
Yeah, somehow. Isn't
Yeah,
he?
it's like he's telling it what to do or something.
Kind of.
And
yeah.
then he just like full on smacks Thor, and Thor just goes down. And like you think that's it, but then the hammer starts to move, and you're like, "Oh shit, he's on now."
Yeah.
And then
he's back.
he catches it, and then like the lightning appears around him, and then he's just dressed
Yeah,
in like his
makes all of
Asgard's
his
armor
chainmail
again.
and everything. Doesn't
And
it?
then he kind of just like strolls out, and it's kind of like, yeah, I didn't lie. I'm a fucking god.
Yeah.
It's like, I love the way it looks, the costume artwork, the way everything kind of like his outfit just works really well.
Costume design is
my
brilliant in the film.
favorite costume, because a lot of the other ones they strip away the sleeves so you can see how fucking ripped he is.
Fan service.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's every obligatory shirtless scene you can get with Chris Hemsworth because
Well, every MCU film has one.
does it? Warrior,
Chris Pratt and Guardians.
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark. Paul Rudd had one in Ant-Man. There's certainly enough that it was a trend.
Yeah. I mean, because like you don't want to see Loki with his shirt off. You want to see Thor with his shirt off. Because there's a big difference between Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth.
I don't really care either way, if I'm honest.
How many women have you spoken to that? Well, none.
No.
You know,
Wow, thanks.
it's all right. But like the people that I work with,
Yeah.
are all kind of like, oh yeah, there's that bit where he takes his shirt off, and it's like, well, yeah, of course, women want to go and see Chris Hemsworth with his top off.
Of course.
You know, which is no different for us wanting to go and see him hit someone really hard with a hammer. If you think
I guess
about
so.
it.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It's what you want from the character. If you want him to be naked, hope that he's in a 50 Shades of Grey spin-off.
Yeah. 50 Shades of Thor.
Jinx.
Oh.
Now I've ultimately won because you can't argue.
I also can't agree.
It's too late because you haven't had a chance to defend your
Oh,
film.
damn it.
And in this corner, they have not turned up.
I've got a real uphill battle based on what you were saying in
with
0.5.
With what? With Winter Soldier?
Yeah, just hating the America trilogy.
Because
I'm in the opposite camp. I think the Captain America trilogy is the best trilogy.
Oh, fair enough. So you like 1, 2, and 3?
I love 1, 2, and 3.
But more so, I love the Winter Soldier because out of all the other Marvel films, it fulfills its role as a Marvel film and as a film.
As a film, it's very good. It is like it is just like a film, but it just happens to have Captain America as the lead. It could just be an action film.
It could be, and that's what I love about it. I mean, I could totally go into like, oh, I love the fact that it's Bucky and there's this whole dynamic between the two of them, and that is great. And the fight that they have, where it's not even a fight, it's just Cap getting the shit kicked out of him.
No, he does.
Like,
he totally gets his ass.
I am not going to fight you, and Bucky's just like program murder, kill.
Yeah, exactly.
Murder, kill, murder.
But you could show it to anyone and just be like, oh, this is a film, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I understand what's going on, I get it.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of backstory.
Yeah,
you can just be dropped right into that film. I
love that I can just sit there and watch it as a fan and be really invested in everything going on, or sit there and be completely taken out of it and be like, this has got some fantastic action scenes. Like the bit on the motorway where he's guarding Black Widow and he's jumping down. Yeah. The entire scene of Nick Fury being taken out. The guy who's supposed to be the top secret agent, and him just getting bested at every point.
I hated that entire chase scene.
I thought it was brilliant.
I don't understand why there is a minigun in that car.
Because he's Nick Fury.
What's it for?
Fury.
It's on the inside of the car. It's only good for opening the window and firing out. That thing's bulletproof. Maybe don't fire from inside the car?
Maybe? I don't know.
I think there's so many ways that you could do that, but he's kind of just like, nah, let's have a minigun in the car. All that's good for is shooting the person in the passenger seat.
See, it would be the thing of, it's Nick Fury, he's got a plan within inside a plan within inside a plan.
Yeah.
So, it's believable that he would have that there for some reason. You're like, what's that for? It's like, I don't know, I'm sure it would come in handy at some point.
Well, I like that he's trying to make the car fly the entire time, and it's like, flight system not available. And it's like, okay, looks like I'm going to have to battle my way out of this. And like, no, you still can't do that.
The entire siege on S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters is pretty fun.
The lift scene. And he says, if anybody doesn't want to be here, get out now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like don't be stupid. And then he does win.
Yeah.
I kind of, when that happened, I was like, he will figure a way of getting out of this.
Yeah.
But it's still visually good to look at.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier,
the introduction of Falcon's pretty fun throughout.
The very first introduction of him, where it's like,
running
on your left.
Yeah.
On your left. I actually do what might sway me towards the Winter Soldier is the book that he has where he writes in, because everyone suggests things to him, don't they? And then he
yeah.
writes them in. That is different for every territory that was released.
Oh, really?
Australians have things like Crocodile Dundee
Oh.
and all that sort of stuff. And like America, I think is probably the one that we've given like with worldwide release, home release. So
Yeah.
stuff like everyone will get the
I'd
American
like to think the
version.
Australian one's like home and away.
Yeah, but there's things on ours like.
Or Neighbours.
I think there's. I can't. Obviously, it's so long since I've seen it. But
Downton Abbey.
there is like a reference to like British things, but then like.
The Avengers. No, not that one.
But like the American one is kind of like it says Star Wars / Trek, and it's like
I think we had that one.
no, that would have been on all of them. But then he's got things like Nirvana, like so.
Okay.
And I love the idea that they've just gone. This is going to be released all over the place. Let's give them something. Some individuality. I think that's a brilliant touch that in any of the director's hands would have just been same stuff. The two of them that did that film, Anthony and Joe Russo,
The Russos.
they knocked that out of the park.
They did.
I know I put Civil War down there as my favourite one, but to the fighting in that is choreographed so well.
The action scenes are
Because
great.
like I said earlier, at the start he's fighting Baltrot, whatever his name is, the Leaper.
Yeah.
And like he starts to realise that he's not just going to take this guy out quickly. This is actually going to be an actual fight, and he raises his game.
Yeah.
He
drops his shield as well, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he
So
does.
I was like,
It's
oh,
like, you're nothing with
fight.
that. Yeah. Which obviously comes into play in everything.
Yeah.
But then I love that he just kind of goes. You see the progression of this character. He's now spent the last few years training and getting good at what he can do.
Yeah.
He is a soldier. That is what he's physically built to do.
Yeah, because
he's worked on it.
Yeah, and at this point he's like spec ops for Shield, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's like, and like the team that he's got around him. I think it's one of the best Black Widows we've seen.
I think it's the best Widow we've seen.
I like her in Ultron because although I think the love story between them is forced, there's a sense of genuine sympathy with them.
Yeah,
And I quite like that.
that's good development.
I mean, they
character.
basically spend that entire film just going, should we just shower together or not? And there is no man alive that would be like, no, love, I don't want to get in a shower with you, Scarlett Johansson. Casting, Sebastian Stan was a great choice because he is really good as Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie's really good as Falcon as well.
Yeah, in terms of like sidekick characters, I think Falcon's probably the favourite. War Machine is...
War Machine's awful, but that's a debate for another thing. It annoys me that the best interaction with Winter Soldier and Falcon is in Civil War because they've
in the seats?
They've got two little scenes together. So yeah, there's the seats. It's kind of like, can you move your seat? No. And then he shuffles over. It's really good. And then there's the bit where they're fighting Spider-Man, and then like I think not Hawkeye. That'd be awful. Falcon like uses the drone thing, Red Wing or something. And Spider-Man flies out like attached to it, and then he just goes, couldn't you have done that at the start? And he's like, I super hate you right now. Like them two together are brilliant, and their interaction for me is one of the better parts of Civil War. But this is Winter Soldier, which means you can't use it
It does mean I can't use it.
because he's
They don't really have much
brainwashed.
of interaction.
I don't think they really see each other, do they?
Not really, because he's off...
Yeah, they do things separately, don't they? Because they're trying to take down all the helicarriers.
Yeah. Which is an amazing scene as well.
It is amazing. I can't understand how not a lot of people died.
I think a lot of people
can
died.
only assume because it's built on
But it's
top of
okay,
a lake.
'cause they're Hydra. And they're the
They
bad
weren't
guys.
all were they? A lot of the Hydra agents are holding the Shield ones hostage.
I guess so.
Yeah, that bit.
I mean, you've actually done more explaining for it than me, because I'm just like, I just fucking love it. It's my favourite.
I don't mind it. It's just the good aspects of it are really good, but it's the few little bits against it overshadow it. Like, I really can't get over the fact Shield is brought down and nobody else is interested. That really annoys me.
Oh yeah, their disguises. That's a real bad point for the film.
Oh,
Just their general disguises.
Just a cap and a jacket.
That's the one. You can dodge surveillance with that.
Oh yeah, and apparently all you have to do to avoid being caught is just make out with Scarlett Johansson. Again, not an issue.
Oh, right. So,
Winter Soldier or Thor?
Winter Soldier or Thor?
Cast your votes now.
Boo, 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 boo.
Do you want to go 50-50?
50-50.
It basically just erases your option, which means only mine can win. This is difficult for me because I prefer Captain America as a character to Thor. But my first time I watched Thor, I was so bowled over. It's by Kenneth Branagh. He directed it, and I'm a big Kenneth Branagh fan.
I've never had much of an interest in the Thor films until Ragnarok. I watched Thor 1 and I thought it looked great. The story was a bit...
Story's paint by numbers. It's Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
but first and better.
Oh, it's a floppy story.
Right into Chris to say why I'm wrong. I think Thor is better than Winter Soldier. I don't think Thor is better than Captain America as characters go. But that's not what this is. I think Thor is better than the Winter Soldier. We need something to
We do.
to even this out though, because at the moment I'm fighting for a draw.
Love interest in both films are pretty weak. Natalie Portman and...
Emily Van Camp.
Yep.
Emily Van Camp is much more attractive.
Do you want that to be the winning factor?
Not really, because that means I lose.
What a way to go out.
Alright, Winter Soldier wins because the tail's better.
The Frost Giant world fight's really fun. I enjoyed that. Then Odin coming in on his little horse.
Yeah. He's like, Father, we can defeat them together. And he's like, no.
No.
I
Off
was
to your room.
Hannibal once.
I'll fucking eat you.
I'll fucking do it. You'd be a good meal as well. Look at that muscle. I think I'd have you tender. But yeah, you eat Winter Soldier, you got a lot of metal in your teeth. That's how we do this. If you were to eat the characters,
Well,
who would go
if you were
the
to eat the
furthest?
main character, Steve Rogers would be a fantastic meal.
Yeah, but he's not ripped as Thor is.
Is this what it's going to come down to? Who's the hunkiest?
It's going to come down to the fact that Captain America is a skinny kid from Brooklyn, and Chris Hemsworth is Australian. It's fitting that it's the last one that we're struggling with the most, because we've rattled these through pretty easily.
Yeah.
Volume 1 and 2 was quite hard. So bad at this, aren't we?
Oh.
Okay, I tell you what, fair's fair. Let's flip a coin for it.
God.
Because this ain't going away.
No, it's not. Why is it coming down to a coin flip? We need a third person.
Yeah, this was a bad idea, wasn't it, going head to head?
Oh, it worked out until now.
No, it worked out because I caved in because I was adamant that
Because you
your
were
films
wrong.
were better. I think we've come up with really good films. It's just you've put them in an order that's one up from where I was. It's kind of like, oh, I think my number 4 is great. Well, I put it at number 5, so technically you're right. And my number 3 is really good. Well, I put it at number 4, so I guess technically you're right. Right, we're English, so we've got English currency. I've got a £2 coin or a 50p.
50p.
50p. Right, are you going to call it, or should we just go heads is cap, or...
Yeah, heads is cap.
Heads is cap, tails is Thor.
Yeah,
I'll try and let it land on the and one of us is gonna go yes, and one of us is gonna fall over. So.
Oh, Thor wins.
Yeah, it does, boy.
Oh,
That's how the internet works. Best movie ever.
God. So after that,
So
it's
I've
a draw.
got a draw because
Oh.
I scraped through on a coin toss.
So we need to think of a sudden
How-
death thing.
How do we? We can't go to penalties, can we? Because we haven't established category for rules. So it's a draw. There's nothing.
Yeah.
This has been a massive waste of time because there is no winner here. I mean, there was never gonna be, was there?
I mean, there might have been.
We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And we
I
started
hate you so much.
I started the podcast talking about Red Dwarf.
Yeah. Look how far we've come.
Nowhere.
So yeah. After that, the folking around.
The folking around has resulted in a draw, a stalemate, if you will.
Well, we've got a list.
We do have a list.
So folking around itself has come out victorious.
We've
lost.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of.
The podcast
So
itself
what we're
has won.
saying is the top 5. So to recap, because you lost with Cap.
Oh.
To re-Thor,
Oh no.
the top 5 MCU films as voted for by us are number 5, Iron Man, number 4, Homecoming, which we both agreed on.
Yep.
Number 3 is The Avengers, First Avengers.
Yep.
Number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Yep.
And then the best film is Thor.
It's
And
really
it's
not.
not at all. Why have I not put Guardians 1 up there? Because then I'd have won this.
You would have.
But then you'd have won the previous one because it would have been Avengers versus.
It would have been Guardians 2
Guardians
versus
2
Thor.
versus Thor, which is easy.
Oh, we can change it to that. Guardians 1 is number 1, Guardians 2 is number 2.
It's not how it works, mate. You lost.
Oh.
Ow. So yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah, so after all of that,
After all of that, it
Thor
turns out
is-
Thor is the best MCU film to
for
date.
folking around as a podcast.
Yep. Until Infinity War comes out, and then that'll probably be the best one.
Probably. But we'll see.
I mean, it's no Volume 1 Guardians.
But yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. If you've made it all the way through this, then fair play to you.
Congratulations. I hope you've
I
enjoyed
hope
our back and forth banter.
That Chris gets his ass into gear and puts this on the internet.
There's a lot to get through now. Because we
I
did
know
a lot
there's
of
a lot to
tangents
get
again.
through, and I know there's a lot of Red Dwarf at the start, which is pointless. But I've bought you pizza,
You did.
and
I'm very thankful for that.
I expect there to be at least, if not this one, then the trailers one.
You can have the Justice League.
The Justice. Oh yeah, just FYI, guys, we watched Justice League last weekend.
Yes.
And as it turns out, what the plan was, we were going to do a podcast where we just talked
Discussing
about Justice League, because as you're probably aware, we do go off on a bit. So we thought, let's make a nice, short and easy one, whack it out, everyone will be okay with it. And we watched it, and then it was really late, and we decided not to do it. But it turns out Chris had been recording us talking about it
Yes.
as we watched it.
Yeah, because we got to the bit where Steppenwolf is introduced, and we've been sort of back and forthing with comments, like and talking over audio commentary.
And some of it I thought was pretty funny, so I started to record the rest of it.
There's a specific bit, though.
There's lots of specific
No,
bits.
there's a specific running joke that we came up with.
Oh, yes.
Which is arguably the best thing.
Yeah.
And in case you're unaware, we find each other quite funny.
Yeah.
There is a lot of us laughing at ourselves.
Yeah, so I apologise for that, but I'm almost done editing that. I just need to put it
So I
towards
think-
sort of clips from the film.
So
Yeah, so I guess there's
that'll
probably,
come out at some point. It'll
that'll
probably
be
come
like
out
a
after
bonus
this.
content, though, I suppose. won't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Because
that'll come
very
out after
difficult
this.
to make that the actual.
Yes, it will.
So
be.
amazingly, that'll be one of the shortest ones we've ever done
Yeah.
because it's restricted to us watching the film.
Yes, but it was good fun.
I tried doing that with Sherlock once, that didn't work.
No, that didn't. But yeah.
I've just got to series 4. I'm really excited.
Oh.
Don't know what the bride thing was, but it can only get better from here. Yeah, so
yes.
I mean, thanks very much for joining us. It's always been a pleasure. We do this anyway, so it's nice that other people get a chance to listen to it.
Yeah. We hope you agree with us on Thor. If not, please feel free to contact us. You can
Contact Chris.
well, yeah, you can reach me on Twitter.
Oh
at-
God, I don't know what I am. I've opened up Facebook.
Oh dear.
It looks the same.
Yeah, you can reach me on Twitter at Hosagi. That's Hosagi, and you can
Stalling
reach.
for
Oh,
time. I am.
oh, you can reach Ben.
I'm Ben Faulkner, but my name's Benjamin, so it's at Benjamin Falcon 1. So that's Falcon, that's Faulkn, because my name is Faulkner. It's just Faulkner without the ER on the end.
Yep.
Not Falcon, like Falcon sort of thing. I have 37 followers. If
Oh, well
I can
done.
get to 40, I will
Oh.
not jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Ben's not
That's
joining me this week because that didn't happen. I forgot to put the podcast out.
That's the only way to contact us at the moment. So
Yeah,
please.
because I'm not giving you my email address.
Oh, why not?
That's why I think third parties already have it, because
Oh,
I've got
dear.
a lot of spam at the
Okay.
moment.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts on your top 5.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything you'd like to see us
Would be
talk
really
about or discuss in the future, Red Dwarf related or not.
or not. It'd be really interesting. Like, I've really enjoyed what we've done today. So if people do have things that they want us to kind of like pair off against each other,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do that. But we do need to come up with a system where something has to win.
Yes. Yes, we do.
So
we will work on that.
yeah, we won't. We will
Yeah, we
come
will.
tomorrow unprepared and try
No,
something different.
we'll work on it. But yeah, until
Until
next time, I've been Chris,
I've been Ben.
and this is Folking Around, Folking Off.
Bye.